That was from a fascinating film called Food Chains. The director is here. Sanjay Rawal is that's your first film, isn't it?
It's my first film.
And this is a film that follows a group of tomato pickers in Florida. These are workers who often are taken advantage of, are abused, are not treated the way they should be treated. Why did you make this film?
I made Food Chains because it brought together three parts of my life. My father was actually a tomato breeder, so I grew up in the tomato industry in California. I worked for 15 to 20 years in human rights all over the world. And at the same time, I moved from California to New York City to study with an Indian spiritual teacher, Sri Chinmoy, to learn about inner peace, gratitude, those types of things. But it wasn't until I saw the conditions of workers in Florida that I realized, number one, we don't know where our food comes from. Number two, conditions in this country are just as bad as they are anywhere in the world. And number three, when I say thanks for my food in my own way, I wasn't thinking about the hands that picked that food.
And Eva Longoria, the terrific actress, you got her involved here. She is an executive producer. Describe how you got her and why she's played such an important role in this film.
Eva Longoria is at once the busiest person, I think, on the planet besides the president, and at the same time, one of the most politically astute. While she was wrapping up Desperate Housewives, the role which most people know her for, she was going to night school at Cal State Northridge, getting her master's degree in Chicano studies. She'd already done one documentary on farm workers called The Harvest. And when our other executive producer, the author of Fast Food Nation, Eric Schlosser, told her about this film, she immediately wanted to get involved. And her support, her guidance, but more importantly, her intellect really helped us make the film what it is today.
You said she was gutsy in this for getting involved. Why?
Very few celebrities that I've seen support issues that don't affect the majority of people in a commercial way. Like farm workers, they have no lobby. You know, politicians don't care about farm workers. At the same time, the way farm workers are exploited is directly controlled by the economics of the food chain. That is the supermarket system. Multi-billion-dollar corporations know the conditions of farm workers and choose not to help them. Eva, by supporting farm workers and by supporting the message of this film, is directly in opposition to a number of gigantic
corporate
corporations.
America.
She's gutsy in that sense. It's like she's fighting against multi-billion-dollar corporations when she's got nothing to gain.
What, for people who watch this film, for people who want to learn more about food chains, what are these workers facing? Be specific.
The greatest exploitation, I feel, is poverty. When you can't make ends meet, and you're earning less than minimum wage, you're almost willing
Working full time.
Working full time, 40, 50 hours a week. You're willing to put up with anything. And look at the system. I mean, our farming system actually is a derivative of the plantation system. So conditions, while they're not legally slavery, they can be just as bad. The spectrum includes wage theft, sexual harassment, rape, modern day slavery. You know, they say that 1 out of 4 women in office environments in the United States experience sexual harassment. That figure is nearly 4 out of 5 in the fields.
Why?
You're in an isolated environment. You are poor. You're willing to put up with almost anything so that you can get the money to pay for your rent and pay for your child. And you're in a system that's always relied on the poorest, most vulnerable workers in America. So
Language matter? The fact that many of these workers do not speak English?
These days, the majority of farm workers are undocumented. But if you look at our nation's history, apart from Africans that were imported as slaves, there have been Chinese, Japanese, Haitians. There have been poor Dust Bowl migrants. We've always relied on people that have been poor and, in most cases, first-generation immigrants.
So interesting. We think about this, and many of us don't want to think about where the food comes from, what the food chain is. You've got an interesting reaction from some of the supermarkets, and others have reacted, well, some have reacted in a positive way, some have not. Those who have responded in a positive way, describe them.
So the great thing is that this is a problem that we can solve. You know, when we look at the difference between conventional food and organic food, there's a big price difference. But the cost to double farm worker wages is just 1 penny. So our main character is this group, the Coalition of Immokalee Workers.
Could you go back again about the doubling of the price?
Farm workers are paid by the piece, which means that they're paid by the pound. Tomato workers get about 1 penny for every pound that they pick.
Double their wages.
Double their wages requires a penny more. So you go to a supermarket and you pay 99 cents, $1.99 per pound. If you paid 1 cent more, or if the supermarket paid the farmer 1 cent more, the wages of the workers would be doubled. It's a very simple situation that people at the top, the Publixes, the Krogers, the Safeways, the Fresh Directs, they all know the situation of farm workers.
And they did?
There's a very easy way for them to alleviate this problem.
And they did?
They haven't.
Have not.
They have not.
Have any of them done anything?
The majority of fast food restaurants, from McDonald's to Taco Bell, with the exception of Wendy's, some of the largest supermarkets in this country, Walmart, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, they've all taken a proactive stance to support farm workers by paying an extra penny per pound for their tomatoes.
That's what it takes, an extra penny.
That's all it takes. But more importantly, they've refused to buy from farms that have human rights violations. So they're using their market power to ensure that there are no human rights violations.
The name of the film is Food Chains. And by the way, people should go onto your Twitter account to find out more information, right?
Yeah, at Food Chains Film, or at www.foodchainsfilm.com.
Foodchainsfilm.com. Sanjay, I want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much,
It's an important subject, and it is our job in public broadcasting to shed a light on the work of important filmmakers like yourself. Your first film, it will not be your last. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay right there. One-on-One will be right back right after this. Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Holy Name Medical Center, Berkeley College, Qualcare Inc., NJM, Wells Fargo, New Jersey Natural Gas, and by the Russell Berry Foundation. Promotional support provided by Commerce Magazine and by NJ Biz, all business, all New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.